plug and play content. Adventures that you can just drag and drop into your campaign at whatever level your adventurers are at this very moment, or wherever they are adventuring at this very moment. Stuff you can just drag and drop. I really like it as a dungeon master, and that is why you should check out Crit Academy's next book, Extraordinary Expeditions. Hi there fellow roleplayers and game masters, my name is still Mr. Tarask, and this is still your go-to YouTube channel for everything D&D 5th edition related, especially third-party stuff, and that is why I'm looking at Extraordinary Expeditions, the Kickstarter by Crit Academy, which is a compilation of adventures that you can drag and drop into your game at whatever level. Like almost all adventures are playable at almost all levels and at almost all locations as an in-betweener, or you can string them together or whatever. And me as a dungeon master, as a completely lazy dungeon master, and I have a kid, and I have a house, and I have a girlfriend, and I have other hobbies next to D&D. Yes, can you believe it? I have extra hobbies outside of D&D. So I sometimes am completely underprepared. So I like books like this, like the Prepared series by Kobold Press, like the Total Party Kill Handbook, stuff like that. You just open, and for every minute of reading you do, you get countless of hours of fun with your players at your tables where you're playing D&D, and that is why I love it. Now, I'd really like to see this fund, but they only have 7 more days to go, and they have gotten themselves $8,000 out of the $10,000 goal, with only 7 more days to go, and I'd really like to see him succeed. If you do not know who Crit Academy is, Crit Academy are actually a podcast and best-selling 5th edition content creators. That's what I call them themselves. I know them as content creators more than I know them as a podcast, because I just don't really listen to podcasts. I'm sorry. That's just not something I do. I tried it countless of times to some of the most famous podcasts, some of the lesser known podcasts, but it's just something that just doesn't stick with me for some kind of weird reason. I don't know, I just can't do it. But I know some of their stuff. For example, I have these books, I have them all, the PDFs, and I've looked at all of them, and I have yet to review Memorable Monsters, because it's really cool, and I have yet to review Fantastic Feats of the Forgotten Realms, which is one of my favorites by them, which is also a missed opportunity, of course, for just calling it Fantastic Feats and where to find them. Bad joke, I know. So they have a bunch of cool PDFs on the Dungeon Masters Guild, on DriveThruRPG, and some of them are best-selling, and they create awesome stuff. But now they are on Kickstarter with Extraordinary Expeditions, and it is this one right here. 214 backers already backed it, and the reason that you should back it, I will just talk about it a little bit. First of all, it looks cool. Look at this. It looks old school, and this is the kind of stuff that I really like. I absolutely love this type of artwork. I love this type of storytelling where you have like this old school stuff that leaves a lot to the imagination. I don't know, it's probably I played a lot of 3rd edition. Even some 2nd edition, but the bulk of my D&D career has been 3rd edition, and this just reminds me of that in some way. Maybe we're just all getting old and we just like to be nostalgic about stuff. I really like this black and white type of, I don't know, it's grim, and it leaves a lot to the imagination, and I really absolutely love it. So about the book, there are 10 adventures, each for the first 10 levels of D&D. So there's 10 adventures, one for level 1, one for level 2, one for level 3, or level 4, and so on. So there's 10 adventures you get actually for the price. Let's see what it costs, by the way. You can pledge $15 for the PDF. For 10 adventures, that's not a lot, because these adventures, although they're short, adventures, like 1 level adventures, most of these will take a bit longer probably than 1 session. They're not like just one shots or whatever. So getting these 10 for $15 is actually a pretty good deal. And then something I want to talk about is you can download a free adventure. So I will talk about this in a bit. As you can see, they got it all mapped out. It looks really cool. And the thing they talk about, I wanted to show you this really quick. This artwork for me, it is just so cool. I think this is so cool. It looks like one of those, somebody went there and then tried to explain what it looked like to some people in a bar, and they were like, what, is there a skull wrong or whatever, and he just drew it for himself. Maybe the bar drew this to show people what it actually was like or whatever. That's what it looks like. So this not only looks like something that describes the situation to you as a player or a dungeon master, but also fits in the game world itself, and I like that feeling. I absolutely love that. I like how you can kind of break that fourth wall and have the artwork be usable in game and out of game at the same time, which I really like. Of course, there are war tiers and everything, and you can, by the way, get a PDF bundle. I absolutely love this. $25. You can get Extraordinary Expeditions and their Memorable Monsters book, which I know a lot of people. I know some people that have it, and I know that everybody who has it absolutely loves it. I haven't really looked into it yet, but I love what I've seen. But I know a lot of people absolutely love it. So for $25, you get their new book, and you get this one, and you can even get both as a hard copy. So that's something that is really worth mentioning. Now, something that they talk about is that the expeditions, don't call them adventures, they call them expeditions, which is cool. They are usable at every level, and they give tools and everything to scale them down, to scale them up, to have different options on how your players handle it and all stuff. And I am really curious into seeing how they handle that, because I think that is one of the hardest things. If you create a level 8 adventure, I think it's really it's not hard to make it a level 4 adventure per se, but some people really struggle with that stuff. For me, it comes naturally because of years of experience, but some people really struggle with the stuff, understandably. So extraordinary expeditions. It will, by the way, be virtual tabletop ready if they hit $25,000, which I think they are not going to hit, but who knows? Maybe in the last week, and maybe all of my viewers right now are rushing to the Kickstarter link in the description below, clicking it and backing it for all they're worth. Even if you can only miss $1, make sure to drop it in there, because they really deserve it. The free adventure, by the way, you can go into the link in the description below and download a free adventure which is called Far Touched. Far Touched is the free adventure that kind of reminds me of the video games Doom. Doom 1, Doom 2, Doom 3, Doom Eternal, Doom everything, because Doom is basically always the same story, right? So there is this town which is overrun by creatures from the far realm, right? So this town, and they are spreading their disease, and people are basically turning into vicious beasts. It's kind of Walking Dead scenario going on right there, and turning into vicious beasts and killing other villagers. And there is this town, and nobody is getting to this town anymore because it's completely surrounded and overrun. The area is completely overrun by beasts. So your players go to an outpost. Really cool way actually of looking at it. Go to an outpost, and this outpost actually is sending out adventurers in an attempt to get to the town to kind of save the last survivors from the town, right? So your players, and they literally say here somewhere, your players have to hack and slash their way through hordes and hordes of creatures in order to get to that town. And that's why it reminds me of Doom. There's another part which reminds me of Doom. So they get to this town, there's only like 80% of people are already dead, and they see this rupture, this portal to the far realm in the town, and where all the beasts are coming out of, and your players have to go in there and negotiate with the person or the creature that opened the portal, or I don't know, kill him, or slay everybody in town and try to save a few villagers. And that's where it gets cool, right? They get the choice. Do they go in? Do they try to talk to the people who created the rupture? Do they try to kill them? Do they try to save the villagers first? Do they just go completely batshit crazy on everybody and just slay everything that is there? Or do they just leave because all hope is lost? All kinds of options your players can use, but it reminds me of Doom because you have to hack and slash your way through hordes and hordes of weird creatures from the far realm, then get into the rupture to get into the far realm, and then try not to be possessed or whatever by the magic of the far realm and become one of those hallucinating beasts yourself from the far realm, because that stuff can happen if you go to the far realm. That's why it kind of reminds me of Doom, but in a really cool medieval D&D kind of way. And the artwork, again, look at this. This is just the artwork that comes right out of like a children's fairy tale book from when I was a child, right? So that's well, minus the spikes, of course. The spikes are a little bit creepy for a child and everything. But other than that, like, the style of the artwork comes right out of... This doesn't come out of a fairy tale book, I hope. But it just looks really, really cool. Another thing I want to say is they are going to use creatures from Kobold Press. So if you are a Kobold Press fan, Extraordinary Expeditions are going to use creatures from Kobold Press. Now, the way I understand it, it's a standalone book, and all the stats you need are in the book. But the creatures, some of these stats will probably come from Kobold Press, because that is open source stuff, if I'm not mistaken, and you can use it, and that's absolutely great, because some of the creatures from Kobold Press are, one, very cool, and two, they lend themselves very well to this kind of creepiness that's going on, at least in the far-touched adventure. So that is why I think you should at least check out the Kickstarter page for yourself, read through it, watch the trailer, because it gives some more information, and see if you can back it for $5, $10, $15. Get the PDF, get the hardcover, get the bundle, because that's a really good deal. If it's not for you, skip it, but if it's for you, feel free to drop a few bucks for Crit Academy, because I would really like to get this into my hands and actually review it on my channel right here. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button for more content on your screen. Until next video, bye bye.